The Donner Party. Wow. Where to even start? Their bravery, their despair, the fact that virtually every decision they made was the wrong one. For those who don't know, the Donner Party was a group of families trying to make a fresh start in the mid-19th century. Through a series of setbacks, which at the time didn't seem fatal but, like a Michael Crichton novel, were actually a domino effect of disaster. Half the party died. The survivors lived through the disaster because they dined on oxen, horses, their own belts, and their dead travel companions. The first of the dominoes to flip, they got a late start. In the 21st century, a late start can mean missing a plane. Back in the day, it could cost you everything, up to and including your life. A late start meant they were trapped on the wrong side of the mountains when winter closed in. The exciting new path guaranteed to be a shortcut. Not only was it a lie pitched by someone who had never taken that route, others tried to warn the Donner Party it was no good. But the warning letters, and there were several, either didn't make it in time, were lost entirely, or, worst of all, were deliberately withheld. Every chance the Donner Party had to abandon the new untried route and get back on track with the old one was vetoed, because ironically, they felt they were losing too much time. Going back and getting reorganized would, they thought, be riskier than keeping with the shortcut. They told themselves the worst was over, repeatedly. For an excellent account of the entire horrifying/courageous story, give Ethan Rarick's desperate passage, The Donner Party's Perilous Journey West, a try. Mr. Rarick doesn't sensationalize the lurid details, but he doesn't pull any punches either, which is exactly the treatment such a terrible, ultimately triumphant story of survival demands. Be warned, if you're anything like me, you'll need frequent breaks from the book to go stand in front of your fridge and reassure yourself with the sight of food. And you'll probably want to wrap yourself in a blanket first. BBC's Sherlock fanfic is the greatest thing in the history of things. Archive of Our Own has devoured so many hours of my life. Worth it. Colonel Charles Rowan was a British Army officer and the first Commissioner of Metropolitan Police. He and his bestie, Richard Mayne, helped found what would later be known as Scotland Yard. In 3 months, they found, hired, and trained close to 1,000 men. They must have been champion delegators, or micromanagers. In that same period of time, they arranged for uniforms, equipment, and a place to work, and furniture and supplies, for their recruits, and then they really went to work. Rowan retired at the tender age of 68, but only because cancer made him. Jesse Tafero, convicted murderer, was executed on May 4th, 1990, in Rayford, Florida. He was exonerated later that year by his former friend, Walter Rhodes, who confessed to the murders of Highway Patrol Officer Philip Black and Constable Donald Irwin. And though he lied to put 2 people behind bars, one of whom was executed, Mr. Rhodes served no additional time for confessing. For the purpose of this book, I moved Mr. Tafero's execution back to May 1985. All of the past life flashbacks are based on real historical events and people, but John Perry's case is an amalgam of several instances when people were convicted of murder only for the victim to show up alive and well, which is horrifying to contemplate. The rules for visiting IC were taken directly from the Illinois Department of Corrections website. I've somehow made it into my 40s without having to visit anyone in prison, which, given my distinguished family history of trailer park-dwelling substance abusers, is odd. So I was amazed at all the hoops visitors have to jump through to see incarcerated loved ones. I came away from my research with respect for the pain these families must endure year after year after year. I heard the cliché that nobody does time alone, and after researching this book, I think that's true. Elizabeth Betty Paris was 9 when she started accusing random townsfolk of witchcraft. This, I'm bored and the internet has...